Welcome back to my third in my series of reflections on my 60th birthday about those things that shaped my faith, especially from my childhood. Today, I want to pick up where I left off last week, talking about the importance of meals together. An important thing I mentioned was the talk that happened around those meals, and really want to focus in on that the conversation that happens in a family that is walking with Christ. I reflect especially on Deuteronomy 6 in verses 6 and 7. The passage says, "Those words that the Lord has commanded us, we are to have in our heart. We are to teach them diligently to our children. Talk about them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise." In my household, with my parents and brothers, that was a very important part of our life. We had a lot of conversation. There was very little background noise. We didn't have TVs on all the time. We didn't have radios blaring all the time. When we sat down for meals, we talked. We shared what was high, what was low in our life, what was good, what was bad, frustrations, joys, what we've been doing. And in all of those conversations, I respect my parents for always bringing it back to how the Lord influenced our life in those experiences. That faith was so important in all of life. We were careful to respect one another. It wasn't allowed to yell or scream at one another or to belittle one another. Even though we may have had our differences, we always had to come back to forgiveness and love for each other. And I thank my parents for establishing that pattern in our home. And we often had a chance to practice confession and forgiveness in those conversations, where when we'd hurt one another, we would confess to each other and then seek forgiveness. And we were expected to grant that in the name of Christ. That surely influenced my faith tremendously in those younger days. And even though I may not have always liked my older brothers, I did love them, and I knew they loved me. And we always went away from those conversations with that spirit of love between us. I encourage that in wherever you are in your life to take those times with your family for conversation. If you have children in the home, to practice that with them. Turn off the electronic devices and just talk. Wherever you are, if you're grandparents with grandkids, if you are a single person who has friends that you get with regularly, just to talk. Share what's your worries, what your fears are, your joys, your regrets, your confession of sin. Share forgiveness with someone who needs it. Receive forgiveness from another as you confess. These conversations are a gift from God as we talk about what He has taught us along the way. Take time for it. It will help your faith to always stay strong. Keep turning your eyes back to the Lord Jesus Christ and His power for your life. God bless you in your daily conversations in the Lord.